All right, Smashers, guess what? We're gonna walk into our den of awesomeness, our smash cave, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. One of the garages at my house, whatever you want to decide to call it is fine by me. We're gonna be talking about shoulder impingement. So, dirty lens. Let's do this. There we go. I'm still here. Don't worry. Oh yeah, see, that's better. So, shoulder impingement. So here's the deal. All right. Shoulder impingement, basically what happens is all the structures, and you guys asked about shoulder impingement, so that's what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to move this over to this one. Why? Because, I don't know, I like it better. That's it. That's my British. That's all I got. Australian, British, all smashed together. Doors open. Why? Because it's freaking hot again today. It's awesome. So shoulder impingement, the issue is your shoulders don't like being overhead under axial load. They just don't. So this position, no matter what anyone says, your shoulders aren't designed to support a truckload of weight overhead. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that what happens is your shoulders don't really enjoy it. They're much more versatile in moving at 360 degrees in support this way and support in this position versus in support in this position. That's okay. We just want to make them stronger in this position for all the gymnastics movements, everything else we do. Now remember, when you're reaching overhead, if you have a shoulder impingement, there's no way in hell you're doing this. This kind of movement you take for granted. Trust me, being able to reach on top of your refrigerator, that's something you take for granted. So what you need to do is all the structures, especially the supraspinatus tendon, comes here, passes underneath basically a bony prominence, and as it passes underneath, there's a bursa and all kinds of tissue in here. There's a lot of mess in here. There's connective tissue, supraspinatus tendon. There's the coracoid, the acromion, all this stuff comes in here. So the coracoid is deep in here. The AC joint, the acromion is this little bird beak hook that comes up over here that your clavicle attaches to. And that's where that supraspinatus tendon comes underneath. So as it comes underneath there and attaches on the lateral aspect of the humerus, what happens is as you abduct the arms, so remember the supraspinatus does the first 15 degrees of abduction. So this is about where your supraspinatus stops working. Now it becomes lateral portion of the deltoid. So the issue with that is that this movement, that impingement cripples everything else you do. And to be able to unload it requires unloading the other 6 muscles of that attach from the scapula to the humerus. Remember, there's 7 muscles that anchor that scapula and the humerus together, and then there's muscles that anchor the scapula itself to the rib cage and allow it to float around. So the shoulder itself is kind of a joint that's not attached to anything. And the dilemma with that is it's really unstable. So you sacrifice stability for mobility. So in order to undo all that and get that shoulder overhead and moving the way it's supposed to with all the rotation, remember it's 360 degrees, we need to be able to allow it to abduct completely without these kind of goofy movements. Like, so for example, an upright row, just to give you an idea of how bad that is for you, and I'm gonna have a bunch of controversy and a bunch of you cliche people are gonna just sit here and fucking freak out. It's okay. I'm gonna stop all the cliche shit right now. Here's the deal. Upright rows, sumo deadlift high pulls, they're not the greatest thing for your shoulder. It just is what it is. Your shoulder is not designed to do this under a massive load. It's not. There's something called the Hawkins impingement sign, which is essentially this, which checks for, if you heard what I said, impingement. Shoulder impingement, don't do it. It's just that simple. So you want to avoid stuff, put your shoulder in really healthy, good positions. So we need to do 2 things. We need to create a gap between the AC or the coracoid, or the acromion rather, create a gap between the acromion and that supraspinatus tendon, and recentralize, this is the part everybody misses, recentralize the head of the humerus in that glenoid fossa. Because what's happened is it started to ride up against this superior portion, so it's doing 2 things. It's irritating the labrum, which is in turn causing inflammation, and the mechanics of the joint have lost their slide and glide, so they're not working the way they're supposed to. They're sitting up at the top and grinding away, so we need to unload that. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you 1 mobility drill. That's it. 1 to unload that supraspinatus, and then 4 things to do that are gonna help reset and retrain that shoulder so you can get out of that impingement just like that. Just that easy. So hey, you ready to get started? Let's do this. So number 1 is, see, I got this already prepped. Good. So we take a barbell. Good. This is so dope. So normally, what I have you do is you get in front of the barbell, and I've had you do this for the trap. Now I went really low. I should have gone higher. This is forcing me into a lunge. Now I had you go into this position. I had you doing this stuff. That's not what this one is. This one is, you're gonna load it up, you're gonna bring the arm up as far as you can. If you have an impingement, this might be all you've got. You're gonna load it up, and then you're gonna drop and come back. So up, so you're gonna drop and come back. That's all you're gonna do. You're gonna do that for literally 2 minutes of work. So really load in there, turn the head away a little bit, and then drop it and come back, drop it, come back, drop it, come back, while you're mashing away on that supraspinatus tendon. That is the only mobility you're gonna do, and this is only for a painful side. That's it. So this isn't stuff you have to do on both sides of the shoulder, it's just stuff you have to do for that impingement. So that's number one. Number two, let's go over here. Good, we got all kinds of fun stuff planned today. All right, number two is called basically, we'll do this, I'm still here, see? So number two, we'll use purple because it's easier to see, is we're gonna take a light band. So if you look, this is a 1/2 inch band. 1/2 inch band is about all you want to use. We're gonna move this just a bit. So 1/2 inch band, with this, you're going to be taking the band, I'm inside the band, I'm gonna grab onto it, my whole motion, I shouldn't have worn a black shirt, my whole motion is gonna be retracting the scapula and pushing my elbows down to the floor. So I'm just gonna do, and 3 sets of 10. So pull back, pull the scapula down. So it's not this. This kind of elevated scapular position, it's just gonna hijack your shit. Don't do that. So you're just gonna screw up your impingement, so don't do that. So you're gonna be basically, I'm about a foot apart. And I'm pulling down, so I'm basically I'm trying to squeeze a pencil between my shoulder blades. So I'll go from this side. So you're gonna go down, and then come back. Down, and come back. Down, and come back. I'll show you from this side too, just so you can see what I'm doing. So you're coming down, and then back, down, and then back. Wait, that's kind of gnar. All right, that's number one. Number two is we're gonna do a double banded victory V. Now this is, you can call it whatever you want. Nobody invented the term, so it doesn't matter. If somebody gets all butthurt about what I'm calling it, I don't care. So we want to, so I'm gonna pull this off without having this camera eat it. Do I have a good angle? Oh, this is the shittiest angle on earth. Good, let's go like this. There. All right, so we take this. So I'm gonna have my arms out like this. Wow, my camera skills are seriously slacking today. So the band is on the rig. I'm gonna have my arms, they're apart. I'm gonna turn them thumb down just a little bit, and I'm gonna pull towards my face. So pull towards the face, turn up, press all the way out. Pull towards the face, externally rotate, press all the way out. How many? 3 sets, 10. That's number two. All right, number three is a simple external rotation. I'm gonna do it right here. Why? Because you can see, and it's easy. And we wanna get through this super fast. So the band is on that, the band is at the same height as my hip. I'm gonna have that arm across the body. Humerus is parallel to the torso, and then you're just gonna externally rotate. Some of this is already loaded up like crazy, so let's unload it a little bit. You wanna use a light band for this, so if you have to go, everything you got, don't do that. It's too light or too hard. So you're just gonna hold the band, externally rotate, come all the way back. Externally rotate, come all the way back. And again, so you're working a muscle that anchors and centralizes the head of the humerus where it's supposed to be. That's important. That one, and then we've got one more. That's all we have to do. So the last one, super simple, I'll use a purple band, is you're just gonna, you don't have to do anything wide, you're just gonna take the band in front of you, nice and light. So the point is we wanna retrain the scapula to hold that new position. So all we're doing is we're gonna take our hands, we're gonna turn them out just a little bit. So I'm about, what, 15, 20 degrees, and I'm gonna come all the way apart, and all the way back, keeping the band loaded. All the way apart, all the way back, keeping the band loaded. 3 sets of 10. I'm gonna show you the bonus, because this is the one that's worked the best for most people. This is man-sized PVC pipe. So we take the PVC pipe. If this is the impingement side, I'm gonna grab this at shoulder height. This is important. And now I'm gonna push this down into the floor. So I'm actively pressing down on the PVC. I realize you can't see that because there's no little weird, video game kind of indicator gauge on here. So I'm going to push down on the PVC pipe. So I'm forcing the lats to engage, and I'm forcing a little bit of the pec, and I'm forcing shoulder stabilization. And then I'm going to step back, and I'm going to keep pushing down the entire time until I feel this bind up. If I feel this pinch, that's as far as I go, and then I come all the way back. 3 sets of 10. So ideally, you want to be able to come all the way down. If you can get to this position, your impingement, hasta la bye-bye. And then come all the way back. And I'm pushing down the entire range of motion. So I'm pushing down on the PVC pipe all the way through, back up to 90. And that's it. Hey, listen, I'm Trev, SmashweRx, kicking it in the garage. Taking care of you guys. Hey, listen, I'll check you guys out tomorrow. Peace out.